Again, thank you for joining us and welcome to the program. More than 300 child soldiers have been released by armed groups in South Sudan, the second largest such release since the country's 4-year civil war. According to United Nations, the laying down of the gun ceremony for 87 girls and 224 boys on Wednesday was the first step in the process that should see at least 700 child soldiers freed in the coming weeks. The UN says that it has obtained the release of almost 2,000 child soldiers so far. More than 10% of them, it says, have been under the age of 13. Over 19,000 children are thought to have been recruited by all sides in the South Sudan conflict.
At the same time, a new series of talks to bring peace to southern Sudan, which has been in civil war for more than 4 years, was launched on Monday in Ethiopia as the international community's impatience with the conflict continues to grow. And I quote, "It's truly the last chance for you to accept your responsibilities and take the necessary steps to ensure that South Sudan knows peace and prosperity." The statement addressed to the South Sudanese delegates by Ethiopia of Foreign Affairs Wakne Gobe last week, the United States decided to restrict arms transfers to South Sudan. A few days earlier, the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Musa Faki, had felt that the time has come to impose sanctions against those who impede peace efforts in the country.
Salva Majok is a political analyst on the Horn of Africa. He joins us now from Birmingham, UK, to talk about South Sudan. Thank you very much for joining us, Sieta. IGAD convened the new peace talks to end the crisis in South Sudan, but says that this is the very last chance for the young country. Can the conflicting leaders stand by what is agreed in Addis Ababa this time around, Sieta?
Yes. So far, I have seen demands out of Addis Ababa, and some of the demands are completely unrealistic. Some of the demands are that some of the leaders in the transitional government should not be able to run for elections in 10 years and so forth. So with the demands that I've seen already so far, I do not think that there's going to be any agreement. If there is agreement, I don't think the agreement will be honored because it's just a revitalization of the failed peace process in 2016. And since then, there have been many more rebel groups infiltrating the country. And we're looking at least over 40 different groups and, and militias and so forth. So I don't necessarily believe that what's going to happen in Addis will actually work to bring lasting peace, and I don't think they will all agree as well.
Sieta, Washington and Juba are not in the best of terms with an arms embargo that the U.S. imposed on Friday to end the war and the sanctions on top Salva Kiir allies. Can this end the conflict as it is simply put?
The arms embargo that the United States has imposed is a unilateral arms embargo. It's just for the United States not to sell any weapons to South Sudan. And, most of the weapons that they're getting in South Sudan are from other countries, not the United States, could be China, could be Russia, could be the countries in the region. So unless it's a multilateral arms embargo, let's say enforced through the UN, and then UN Security Council, and then other countries are enforcing it, it will not be effective and it will not bring lasting peace. And imposing something and then ensuring that it's followed through and implemented are two different things. So even if there's an arms embargo, will it really be effective, and will there be repercussions for violating it? Unless that's in place, it will not work.
Last year, the UN experts said that weapons continue to flow into South Sudan from diverse sources, often with the coordination of neighboring countries. What will you make now of the role of neighboring countries in the peace process?
The region definitely plays a role in the current crisis. The region either benefits from the crisis or there's disadvantage from the crisis. So, for example, Uganda has had economic losses due to the crisis. So for Uganda, for example, it's in the best interest for them as the country stabilizes. But all these countries have their own politics to play. I think that's also why the IGAD process has been very difficult to achieve, because the neighboring countries and their influences and the things that they can benefit and the things that they're disadvantaged from. So there are a lot of rumors and things that Uganda is supporting the South Sudanese government. And also remember in 2013 when the war first started, Uganda sent the UPDF there to help in war. So there's definitely influence from the region in the current crisis.